Now, first we want to introduce what is yoga. Everyone knows what is yoga. In modern days, most people understand yoga as a form of exercise. So this is the most physical or the most superficial understanding of yoga. Yoga is a form of practice to cultivate your mind in search of oneself. So there are many ways that you can search for yourself. You can discover who you really are. One of the ways is through your own physical self. So there are a lot of physical movement that we do, so you will understand your body better. So you will understand you might have limitation on your shoulder, you might have limitation on your hip, you may have problem with your lower back, whatever. So it doesn't matter. So there is a process of us understanding ourselves, discovering one's true self. So in modern days, because we are not as spiritual as the ancient people, so we are now only focusing on the physical part of yoga. So when people say yoga, we often talk about the postures that we perform or even the movement from one posture to another. That is what we are talking about in modern terms. This is an Iyengar Yoga Introductory course. So Iyengar Yoga, what is Iyengar Yoga? Now, yoga is yoga. There is no differentiation. As I said before, yoga is a kind of practice or a way to in search of oneself, actually to understand your own self. We are just using the physical means in modern days. So yoga is yoga. Yoga has many different branches, many different schools, many different traditions. Iyengar Yoga is only one of them. This is named after its founder. The founder is called BKS Iyengar. So Iyengar is his surname. So Iyengar Yoga is actually a name given by his students to represent his teaching. So Iyengar Yoga is not different from any other yoga, and it is not unique in a way that only you can search for oneself in Iyengar Yoga. You can search for oneself in Hatha Yoga, in Ashtanga Yoga, in Anusara Yoga, in flow, in any kind of yoga you want. We actually have a lineage. The lineage is actually from BKS Iyengar. He taught yoga in this way. So Iyengar Yoga is not a separate yoga, it's only the kind of teaching or the way that yoga is being taught. We call this Iyengar Yoga. There are many different characteristics in Iyengar Yoga. Most people understand Iyengar Yoga's characteristics is props. Because BKS Iyengar he first invented props for people to do yoga. Why do we need props? Sometimes we have body limitations. Let's say you want to reach your hands down to the floor, you want to touch your toes. So in the old days, what Iyengar would do is take the bricks, the one that we use to build buildings. Use the brick, put it in front of you, then you can indirectly touch the ground. So the initial understanding of props is to overcome limitations in our body. But slowly as it evolves, we then understand props is a way for us to access into our body intelligence. What BKS Iyengar called body intelligence. What that means is you develop awareness of your own body. So for example, you have never moved your glute muscle. You don't know how to activate your glute muscle. When we use different kind of props, it actually helps you to access that muscle and get connected with your mind. So your mind can easily connect with your body through the use of props. So although props is what people outside of Iyengar system would characterize us as Iyengar Yoga, but the people inside Iyengar Yoga system, we do not characterize props as a characteristic of Iyengar Yoga. Because props is only a tool for us to access the body. You can do the same with or without props. So props is not essential. So you can access your own body intelligence with or without props. So that is not essential. Now I'm going to tell you the 3 most common characteristics in Iyengar yoga. How can you tell if the way that we practice belongs to Iyengar yoga? So generally, there are 3 characteristics. The first one is there is precision. The precision includes alignment. A lot of people call alignment yoga, blah, blah. This Iyengar yoga is more than just alignment. It's not just about aligning your finger to your shoulder, to your hip, to your toes. It's more than that. It's about precision. Precision means when you raise this up, what is this muscles doing? What is this hip muscle doing? What is the thigh muscle doing? When you're doing it, what is the rib cage is doing? You are quite precise. In order to access your own body intelligence, you need the precision from your mind to the body to connect together. Then you can have a sensation about the pose. You will understand, you have the awareness of the pose. Some of the poses will give you energy. So you are able to access your own body energy through that awareness. Some of the exercises will give you calmness. You may feel more calm in your mind, more still in your mind. Some of the poses allows you to rejuvenate. So you can access that through precision. So this is one of the characteristics of Iyengar yoga. The second characteristics of Iyengar yoga is we emphasize a lot on sequencing. So for example, we have a sequence of 5 poses. Let's call this pose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? You can practice 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can practice 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. You can practice 1, 4, 5, 3, 2. There are many ways of the sequencing. But the sequencing actually have an effect on your body. Give you an example. Early in the morning, our body is lazy. We call tamasic. That means you have a very latent energy that is not sparkle yet. You haven't ignited that yet. So the sequencing would typically start with high energy, lifting energy. So after you finish, if you're practicing in the morning, you don't want your energy to go down to become tamasic, to be very latent and very lazy. So you will only go down to a certain level where your body feels restored enough. Then this is usually your morning practice. Now when you come to your evening, in the evening, what would we do? In the evening, you probably have already worked the whole day. Your mind is tired, your body is tired. What do you do? So the sequencing will be quite different. So we may not start immediately into high energy poses. We may start with something a little bit more rejuvenating. You need to recover from the whole day's work. And then we start to work with the body, but not extremely high energy. For example, in the evening, we are usually not recommended to do deep back bends because deep back bends is very high energy. There are people, their mental state can be disturbed by deep back bends. Because the energy is so high, when they go to sleep, the mind cannot calm down. So this is about sequencing. How you position different poses, how do you gather together the poses that you want to practice in one session. This is what we call sequencing. So Iyengar yoga system emphasizes on how it's not the poses that you're doing, it's the set of poses in a particular manner. That is why you go to one teacher and you practice more or less similar type of poses. You come out, you feel different. And then another teacher teaches Similar poses, but just different sequencing. When you come out, you also have a different feeling. This is what it is. It's the sequencing that actually changed the body. Last but not least, the third characteristics in Iyengar yoga is what we call timing. Timing means how long we should stay in a pose. Of course, beginners, you may not be able to stay very long in the pose because you may not have the flexibility, you may not have the endurance, you may not have the strength to be able to maintain, blah, 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 blah. But as we become more and more matured, timing is extremely important because there are certain poses you cannot access deep into the body intelligence until you stay in that pose for a longer period of time. One of the examples we always give is headstand. Headstand is called the king of asanas. That means this is the pinnacle of yoga asana. Pinnacle of the yoga asana is not handstand. But it's not about the difficulty. It's not about how challenging that pose is. It's about what that pose gives you, how you can benefit from that pose. If you stay in headstand, initially, the first 30 seconds, the body reacts in a particular way. When you stay for 2 minutes, the body changed. The 2-minute part is very important because why? A lot of people will tell you, if you're high blood pressure, you should not invert your body. Because as you invert the body, the blood goes to the head, your blood pressure will blow up. Actually, the opposite will happen once you have certain familiarity with headstand. You can stay after 2 minutes, your blood pressure will go down. Why that is the case? Now, these days, we are quite blessed because there are a lot of Western science starts to explore yoga and the effects of yoga. So we already have a lot of research that actually back up all these ancient wisdoms. So what happened in the body was, when you first initially go up, there is a slight spike on your blood pressure because you are suddenly inverting yourself. Your blood goes to the head. But when you become calm, you remain calm, the blood vessel starts to dilate. When the blood vessel starts to dilate, the blood flow slows down. And that will, what happened then is your blood pressure goes down. But that doesn't happen in the first 2 minutes. It happens after 2 minutes. So this is why timing is also a science in Iyengar yoga system. We look at how long certain type of poses you should hold to access that body intelligence. Actually, Iyengar yoga is much more than that. I can't give you everything. I'm summarizing the system to give you a flavor of what this system is about.